behind, but that's okay. And we're live. Yay! We figured
Yay.
it out. We had some sound issues we had to figure out at first. But hi, everybody. I'm just going to give everybody a couple minutes to pop in
Mhm.
because we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on the Self Care is My Job page, trying to get this out as to many places as
Mhm.
possible. I have here with me a good friend. Now I'm glad I can call her a good friend,
For
Anna.
sure.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Mhm.
Where are you from? And then we're gonna get into what the conversation we already like kind of just we went right into a really juicy conversation we're gonna jump into that I think a lot of women are gonna resonate with. But tell us a little bit about yourself. While you do that, I'm gonna go on Facebook and tag you in this live. That way it's like on both of our feeds. But tell us, what do you do? A little bit about yourself. How did this happen for you? Like, why you do what you do?
Well, thank you for having me here. I can already tell this space is pretty powerful because all the ideas are coming and just
Yes.
there's just a lot of good energy here. So I'm Anna Herendeen. I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I grew up in Wisconsin. So I have kind of a weird accent. I go with it. My journey has been one of, I think the consistent theme of my journey has always been learning and teaching. So I grew up on a dairy farm, second oldest of 5 kids. I've always loved working and learning and exploring. I was a nerd in school, right? Always have been. And I brought that into my adulthood. So I spent about 12 years teaching Spanish in high school and a year in middle school. So I have a degree in education. But when it came time to have my kids, my husband and I decided that I would be the one to be the primary like parent on duty while he continued working in corporate. Um, I lost myself, as so many full-time parents do, right? And
Yep.
I knew I lost my energy, I lost my inspiration. Every little bit of me was poured into my children and making sure they stayed alive and were
Mhm.
safe. Well, when they got a little bit older, people would tell me, "Oh, don't worry, Anna. You're not going to be tired for much longer. Just wait until they sleep through the night." Like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. No, still exhausted. And I got to this point where I just felt like I was walking around with a cloud over my head all the time, and I just was living for nap time, and I was not in a good place.
Mhm.
A friend came along and introduced me to some resources that really helped me with my nutrition and my energy. Launched that forward 6 months. I literally spent time on the yoga mat, and
Mm.
it was an emotionally healing time for me. I know, right? The
Right.
emotional healing always comes before the physical healing. If you take nothing away from the emotional healing comes before the physical. The energetic healing comes before the physical. 6 months after that, I started like focusing on my physical body. I continued working on my energetic body, my spiritual body. And what ended up happening is that I received some really amazing divine guidance and some just non-coincidental things that happened that led me to becoming someone that speaks and educates about the female hormone system,
Mm.
but not so that we can all become like pros and professionals and knowing exactly what phase of our cycle we're on or what day our period's coming, but so that we can become self-aware of what our bodies are doing and align with what our bodies need and want so that we can live a life of energy, productivity, joyfulness, alignment, because we're not here to just exist. We are here to make an impact, to bring our skills and our talents to the forefront in order to impact those in our lives now and the generations to come. So, yes, I'm affiliated with a network marketing company. Yes, I have some coaching programs and workshops. But what lights me up is if you're into human design, I'm a total projector. Is somebody asks me a question and I just am like, I got the answers for you.
Mm. Got it.
So so that's a little bit of a long-winded way of saying that I'm a trained educator, and what I currently educate on is female hormone systems, but not so that you can go out and be like all sciencey nerdy about that, but so you can understand your body, so you can understand her language and what she's telling you, because she is smart, she is intuitive, and she knows her soul purpose. And she wants you to be able to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually aligned so that you can live out that purpose of why you're even here.
Mm. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm tingling with excitement to respond. First of all, I am also a projector.
Yes.
Yep. And Heather is coming on to talk about that in a couple weeks.
She told
And
me that I was a projector. I haven't gone any deeper with it, but I need
yep.
to.
Oh, you must, but we can't go there right now
No.
because we'll never come back. So, human design, guys, that's coming up in a couple weeks. Anyway, you know what I realized? It's funny because I never introduced myself on this show. So, real quick, I'm Sam. Just in case anybody needs to know, I'm Samantha Long. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm a self-care mentor for moms, which is, of course, very aligned. My company is Aligned Heart Yoga and Self-Care, and it's very aligned with obviously the conversation we're having. And I um, met Anna through this program, one of the many programs that she helps to run. And I was called Live or Laugh Love. And I just completed last week a 4-day detox for hormone balance. And I was just telling Anna that it is literally the first time that I've ever like done anything like that. I have never been one to diet. I have never been one to, you know, take on one of these fad diets or plans that is going to sort of put me in a mindset of depriving myself from like a particular food group or item or anything like that. It just never resonated with me. This experience of doing the detox among so many physical, benefits that I felt as far as energy and regularity and like all kinds of things that we can talk about. But one of the main things that's more of an energetic and spiritual approach, like sort of as a byproduct of just being regimented for those 4 days, was self awareness. Like I became so sometimes uncomfortably aware of how often I mindlessly snack, and that means that I am not only mindless about when and how it's happening, but what I'm snacking on. Like, I don't even know I'm doing it because when you're on a regimented, I'm going to eat only this at this time and da da da, and I'm not really snacking too much in between. And all of a sudden, I'm grabbing for this and I'm grabbing for that.
What
And
am
I'm
I
like
doing?
stopping myself, right? So you become aware of these things. And also, I would have never categorized myself either as an emotional eater.
Mm.
And what I found was that I was having these cravings, and I was definitely self-soothing in a way with food. And it really didn't matter what it was. Like now I can, I became aware of the fact that it didn't matter what it was. It was really like, okay, do I crave salty or sweet? And
Mhm.
like, what can I grab to soothe that at the moment and then move on with my day? And I have always been one to snack so that I don't feel like deprived once again, because then I'll overeat at a meal. But once again, it's like, oh my goodness, like how much do I do this and why am I doing it?
Mhm.
So it's that self-awareness of, am I actually hungry? Am I trying to soothe myself in some way? As far as, do I just actually, in reality, am I just thirsty where I just need to hydrate more? And do I just need a friggin' break? Do I need to
Yes.
sit the fuck down, first of
Right.
all, instead of munching on, tortilla chips or, a few of the little sweet crackers or cookies that my son is eating? Maybe I just need a break, or maybe I need a boost of it. Maybe I do need a little boost to my blood sugar.
Yep.
But I mean, am I just going to grab for anything? Here we are back to the mindless eating. So self-awareness was one of my hugest takeaways from this, which makes me excited because that's what, from a yoga and meditation perspective, that is what I gain so much from those practices. And we keep coming back to that concept of self-awareness.
Mhm. Any if we think about becoming self-aware of our own bodies, we have to think of it like a foreign language. Okay, I taught Spanish to high schoolers for years. Like this analogy just works, right?
Yeah.
If you're somewhere in the world and you do not understand the language, it's going to be very hard to meet your basic needs. to get around on transportation, to have housing, to find food. If we don't understand the language of our own bodies, it's going to be very hard to provide what she needs. Okay. And she
Yeah.
will continue trying to communicate with you in lots of different ways. And if she continually does not get what she is asking for, what she needs, what she like literally needs, there are going to be problems that surface. And then we have to try to fix the problems and then the underlying causes of the problems. When we speak about the language of nutrition, your body will also, it speaks that language. We are very good at understanding the vocabulary of hunger. We're very good at understanding the vocabulary of thirst. We are not good at understanding the vocabulary of cravings. Okay, because
Ding! This is like
right,
my realization.
right. Our body, our brain will like our hormone system is incredible. And its main job is to keep us alive. Okay, main job. So it's going to do whatever it needs to do to keep us alive. And one of the primary things it needs is it needs energy. And energy comes from any type of food you eat, any type. Okay, Snickers bars or a kale salad, you will be getting energy from it. But the types of energy that you get, some are beneficial and some are not. Some are quick, some are slow. Some are also like packed with vitamins and minerals, and others are packed with sugars and preservatives and additives. So if we think of our body's hunger cues, our thirst cues, our craving cues, those things as vocabulary and a language, and we have to become bilingual. We have to understand what our body is saying. A craving is your body's wish, or its asks, it's raising its hand saying, hello, I need something. It could be vitamins, it could be minerals, it could be water, it could be food, it could be energy. So anytime you feel hunger, you feel thirst, you feel a craving, what you said earlier is perfect. Stop and ask yourself a question. Am I hungry? Like, am I literally physically hungry? Do I need to put food in my body because my body needs energy? Am I thirsty? I mean, oftentimes that's what we are. By the way, the body sometimes will confuse your hunger and thirst cue.
I am noticing that
Yep.
so much because I'll be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
wait, am I hungry? I didn't even like drink water yet today. All I
Right.
had was
So
coffee. Like,
start with a glass of water. Okay.
yeah.
Start with that. And then cravings will either be a request for energy or a request for nutrients. And the body knows really well how to get you to eat something that will provide quick energy. It'll make you want that Snickers bar 9 out of 10 times other than the kale salad. Okay. Because it knows it's quick, it'll an immediate need. It's like a 2-year-old, right? It's like, I want that. And I don't care about the consequences. Okay.
Yeah.
So to help your body go, you know what, like, let's avoid those cravings by nourishing ourselves every 2 to 3 hours with food that provides vitamins and minerals, it provides fiber, it provides carbs and proteins and healthy fats, right? Let's just give our body what she needs so she doesn't
Yeah.
have to scream at us and throw a temper tantrum asking for it.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
So
good.
we have to literally just become self-aware and ask ourselves, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling right now? Second thing is, you mentioned something, you're like, am I soothing myself with food? So often our what we think is hunger or thirst or a craving is actually an emotional need. Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling whatever feeling it is? And is that feeling something I'm willing to sit with and think about and maybe take care of? Like, maybe I'm feeling frustrated because my kid's room is messy.
Mhm.
So instead of eating something to snuffle down that frustration, I need to go deal with why I'm frustrated with my kid's room being messy. And that opens a whole other box of worms, or a can of worms, because right, dealing
Right,
with
then you
people.
can go into, like, avoidance. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, "I'll just go snack over I have done this.
Oh
I
yeah.
know I do this. I'm just gonna go have a snack
Yeah.
so that I can just stand there in the kitchen
Yeah.
and not go do what I know
What I
I
need to
should
do.
do." Like, even though it's not that concept is not immediately available to me at the moment. In retrospect, it's absolutely what I do.
It's 100% true. I mean, our phone is an emotional soother all
Yes.
the time. Like, oh, I'm frustrated. Let me go and scroll on Facebook. Maybe I'll find other frustrated people. Okay.
Yeah.
So it literally is just a lot about self-awareness. Would you mind if I dropped a tip about cravings
Oh,
related to
please,
hormones?
because that's where I'm at.
All
Yeah.
right. So just to back it up just a little bit. So I'm going to assume that your viewers and listeners know pretty much nothing about their female hormone cycle other than they get a period, because that's what we're taught and educated from being little. And
Yeah.
it usually comes with a
Just
negative
hide it. Just wait till
connotation.
it comes and then hide it away so nobody
Yeah,
has to hear about it or see it or discuss
right.
it because it's
And
gross, and
yeah,
then move on with your life.
move
Yeah.
on your life, and we're gonna use euphemisms and other terms
Yeah.
other than menstrual and period and blood
Yes.
and
Yes.
like all the terms. And in fact, like the women, as you approach puberty, you hear stories of other people in your lives. Oh my gosh, it's going to be horrible. Just wait until you get cramps. Like, it's literally we're trained to expect it to be horrible.
Mm.
Okay, that's another topic
You're
for another
like,
day. But it's
true.
very important to know that your hormone cycle is one of the most beautiful gifts that you have been given
Mm.
to exist as a human body with female hormones. I am incredibly inclusive, so I will say women, but I hope that you understand that not all human bodies identify as female, but they still have female hormones. So I
Mhm.
like to say period people or menstruating humans. But just
Love
we're
it.
speaking of bodies that have the female hormone system as their dominant hormone system for reproductive cycles. It is one of your biggest superpowers because the hormones that regulate your reproductive cycle, they give you optimal times of the month for energy, the ability to build muscle, the ability to burn fat, the ability to be more social and communicative, the ability to take care of your to-do list. It literally can help you with your productivity. It can help you with knowing when to clean your house and when not to.
Mhm.
There's a built-in system for when you rest and when you don't rest. So if you can align your lifestyle with your hormone cycle, you will find yourself to be less frustrated, less stressed, more optimized. You're not going to be trying to fit into a patriarchal way of doing work.
Right.
Okay.
There
So if
you
you
go.
feel stuck and your body's like, I can't handle it, it's because your body, it's not meant to. It's
Mhm.
not meant to. So your hormone cycle is more than just your period, but your period is one phase of your cycle.
Mhm.
Think of the four seasons. Nature gives us beautiful examples of this. We have four phases of the moon. We have four seasons of the year. The female body actually has four seasons in her life.
Mm.
It's and the number four is a number of completion, a number of foundation, of stability, of just firmness. So think of your menstrual cycle as your winter time. When you're bleeding, it's winter. It means rest, introversion, like analysis. Think of, like, just go inward. Okay, that is your menstrual cycle. When you do yoga on your period, do you feel like doing those high energy, like, no, you just want to like literally sit on your meditation pillow or your bolster and just breathe. You know
Mhm.
why you want to do that? Because that's what your body needs.
Yeah.
Progesterone and estrogen are at their lowest while you're at the beginning starting of your bleeding. You do not have natural energy. Your body is not primed for HIIT workouts. Don't do them, please, on your period.
Mm.
Your body is not primed for like killing it at the office that day, or for like taking your kids out for a massive field trip adventure that day. It's just
Mhm.
not. Those things are going to feel hard because your body is not biochemically set up for it that day. So
Mm.
that's your winter. The next season that comes is called spring. And the spring is called your follicular phase. And it's when your estrogen is building and that egg follicle is starting to mature, the egg that will eventually come out at ovulation. Estrogen is climbing, estrogen's for energy. So if you notice day 3, 4 of your period, your energy starts to come back. That's your estrogen, and we love estrogen.
Yay, we
Right?
need that.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's your springtime. It's a great time for for dreaming, for planting seeds, metaphorical ones, for starting to increase the intensity of your workouts, to plan your month ahead. Okay, it's a time of planting and seed setting. The next season is summer. That's your ovulatory phase. Ovulatory phase means we feel sexy. We feel a desire maybe to be more intimate. We want to be social. We can like get a ton of stuff done around the house, no problem. We want to talk to our husbands. Like it's all the things.
We want to
Okay?
talk to them. Wow.
We do. Like when they come to us and say, honey, I have an idea for something. We're not going to be like, oh, I can't handle it. You're going to be like, what? Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just more communicative. Our biochemistry makes us that way. After our summer of ovulation, then we start to slide into fall, and that's kind of a gradual transition. It'll happen over, I don't know, 7 days or so, and then we hit real hormonal fall, which is our luteal phase. So when you ovulate, your egg goes into your fallopian tubes. What happens to the egg follicle? It doesn't just disappear. First, it actually transforms into a temporary endocrine gland called the corpus luteum. It pumps out progesterone, which is the hormone you need and the dominant hormone during your fall, during your luteal phase. This hormone, like, it's pretty incredible. It's the one that stays and it's sustained if you become pregnant. Okay, now if you're not pregnant, both progesterone will fall and estrogen will fall again. Anyway, I forgot to explain that. After ovulation, estrogen falls and progesterone rises. Both of them fall if you're not pregnant, and that triggers your next period. Okay, so we literally go through winter, spring, summer, fall, every hormone cycle. Is this new news to you?
Yes,
To people?
absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I'm so glad you are drumming it down, like giving us this good stuff,
Yeah.
but making it digestible because it's like, it's hard to take on sort of almost like a new approach and belief
Yeah.
system around these
Yep.
things, especially because of what we've been taught and conditioned to do, which is like literally hide
Yeah.
from this shit.
Yeah.
And it sucks, which we can go we won't go
Right.
down that road. But I have to note the, importance of paying attention to these things and learning about these things from like a spiritual perspective, because here's what is sparking for me right now is kind of like, you know, almost like getting permission to submit when we need to submit, and permission to, you know, take, put down the bat, as I've been saying
Yeah.
over and over again lately. Stop beating ourselves up when we can't deliver, when we can't live aligned with the patriarchal world that we're and what we mean, by the way, when we say that is, you know, sort of like the masculine energy, that's the energy of the world of our culture right now,
Yeah.
because, mostly men
It's
run for fucking centuries, I don't know,
yeah.
whatever it is. So, it's fine, but we just happen to be living in this culture that's go, 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 do, produce, produce, produce. There's
That's
nothing
very
wrong with that
masculine.
energy.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place for that energy,
Yes.
100%. But the
Mhm.
problem is that the more subtle feminine energy that really does need the rest
Mhm.
and the pause and the
Yep.
introspection and all of that. It needs all of that, and that there is so much goodness to be birthed literally
Literally.
out of embodying that in your life. So
Mhm.
this, not only is it just simply could give women the you know just enhance their lives as far as work, business, family, their energy, how they feel, blah blah blah, their body, but give them the permission that they need to, like, just be who we actually fucking are.
When our bodies say, "I need rest,"
Yeah.
is our response, "Great, how can I rest today?" Or is it, "No, I have to power through this because powering through it is how I show up. I'm
Yeah.
fierce. I'm" No, a man's hormone cycle, a masculine hormone cycle, which is the dominant hormone is testosterone, is a 24-hour cycle.
Mm.
24 hours. They go through their whole cycle. So they wake up, testosterone's high, declines throughout the day, recharges at night. rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how a female hormone body feels when she has to show up as a mom, when she has to show up in corporate, when she has to show up as a teacher. She has to do the same thing at the same level, at the same output, at the
Yeah.
same everything every day. Show up, rinse, and repeat. And if she has to rest because she has horrible cramps on her period, she literally has to take a day off, perhaps with no pay, so that she can rest her body. If I were to run a female hormone inclusive business, I would literally give every female hormone body 1 day off of a month paid so that she could take a day of rest. Well, 1 day of her period. In fact, if you can do that right now on your own, whether some aspect of rest, maybe a whole day is just not even possible in your universe right now, but maybe 2 hours of rest on the day that you have your heaviest bleeding will do a world of good for you. Because if you do not rest when you're on your period, you will not have the energy and your hormones will not be primed to do that estrogen build and climb, which will then mean that your estrogen ratios are off for your progesterone and you will experience PMS and a bad period the next time around. It's just plain and simple. If you don't listen to your body's signals now, she will not be able to do what she needs to do to get ready for the next phase, and next phase, and next phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I promised a tip about cravings and PMS. Okay. So we're thinking about our luteal fall. Okay. This is the week or two before we get our period. On this week or two before our period, we often notice that our cravings increase. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, I want the chocolate, I want the wine, I want all the things. Okay, so two things play into this. One, we often have a sense of more heightened frustration or overwhelm because our biochemistry makes us more aware of all the little to-do things. For me, for example, the week before my period, I notice all the piles of paper in my house. I notice the piles of laundry. I notice my big to-do list. And all I want to do is just get it all organized and done. I'm nesting before my period.
Yeah.
Before my time of rest. I want to get it done so I can rest. Okay, that's what's really going on.
Wow.
So we have this heightened sense of frustration because we just notice all the mess. We don't want to problem solve anything with our spouses or partners. Okay, they come to us with an issue. We're like, oh, I can't talk about this right now, right? We're not in problem solving mode. We're in we're getting ready to rest. We often will self-soothe that frustration with food, and we self-soothe it with foods like chocolate and wine or salty things, or, I hate to use this word, but sometimes we will binge on things we know are not nutritious for us because we're trying to soothe this emotional frustration that's coming from an imbalance of your progesterone and estrogen.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can mitigate this by what you did last month. So the sooner you start, the better, because you're not only improving what's happening now, you're improving what's going to happen in 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. When you're in your progesterone phase, this phase where there's this heightened frustration, your period's coming, you're anticipating your PMS, your body is producing progesterone, and it's also increasing your blood volume. It is building up your uterine lining. It is literally preparing your body as if you are nurturing a human being in your uterus. Okay, it's acting as if you're pregnant. It is natural and normal to need and want more calories during your luteal phase. You literally need it.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the nutrient categories you need more of is healthy fats. So if you want to avoid the cravings and the chocolate wine events, what you should be doing is as soon as ovulation occurs, like right after that, is add some healthy fats into your daily routine. 1/4 to half of an avocado. My favorite thing is when and I've been doing this for a little while. When I'm about 6 or 7 days out from my period, I will eat what I call eggy toast every day. 1 serving of eggy toast. It gives me just that extra 300 to 500 calories my body needs. It provides healthy fats, a healthy protein, and a healthy carb all wrapped up. It's a piece of whole wheat toast with a fried egg or a scrambled egg, whatever, and then a smear of avocado. That's it.
It's like one of my favorite things to eat.
Yeah.
So there you go.
just a little extra. So the foods you're eating during each phase will actually give your hormones what they need so that they're happy and they're not crying out in cravings, and your brain's not like, I'm nutrient deficient. I need this and this and this.
Yeah.
Right? You will start to experience a happier PMS time because your body doesn't have an imbalance in the ratios of the reproductive hormones. So when PMS is not normal, it's not normal. It's so common that we think it's normal, but it is not supposed to be that way. What is supposed to happen during that time is those natural instincts to nest, to take care of all your to-do list. You should be able to do those things, and they should produce a really happy and calming sensation, because that's what progesterone is supposed to do. It will actually help your dopamine levels and your serotonin levels to be able to accomplish those little tasks in a peaceful and joyful, aligned way. But we kind of self-sabotage by not knowing. First of all, it's a lack of knowledge. And then, if we do know, we don't do it. And if we don't know, we aren't able to do it. Of putting all this together in this kind of just this hormone cycle alignment of lifestyle. We can do this with our food, our workouts, our productivity, our house chores. We can do this with our energetic work. We can do this with our relationships, all the things.
I am so in right now.
I know, right?
Like, you don't even know. Like, all the things are lighting up for me right now because, and you literally just said it. What was in my head was the productivity. So like you have that, I can relate to, and if you're listening to this right now and you're like that mom or woman, whatever, that's like, why TF can't I get all this shit done? Not only going back to like, sort of allowing yourself to rest and everything, and like certain phases you're going to feel more like that, but obviously, taking advantage of those optimal times of the month are going to, probably exponentially increase your productivity during that phase.
Yep.
So that you don't have to feel like you're behind, which who really fucking cares if you're behind? But anyway,
We feel it. That's what our brains tell us. Yeah.
That's what we're telling us. And we do have to take into account the two sides of the coin, right? Like, we do have to be easier on ourselves, but at the same time, we have to become self-aware and find ways to increase productivity, to improve ourselves in little ways, that become bigger ways, right?
Can I drop some helpful tips?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. The first helpful tip is to recognize, and this was a big lesson I've learned, I'm speaking from experience, is that your self-worth, your value as a human is not dependent on how productive you are.
Yeah.
You are valuable as a human simply because you exist. Your existence creates your value.
Yeah.
So I have stopped using the term, I'm going to take a lazy day.
Yeah.
I've stopped using it because I'm like, why am I calling myself lazy? Because I'm listening to my body and resting. What I now say, because I've got 2 little girls in the house who are listening to my every word. Now what I say is, Mommy's taking a rest day because her body needs it. I'm resting.
Yeah.
And the days where I'm really busy around the house, I'm saying, your mommy's having a work day today because my body wants to. Like literally teaching them with our actions and our vocabulary of how to listen to our bodies. So first of all, we should not define our self-worth by how productive we are, how much we got done, how much of our to-do list we did. I mean, we do this all the time. Hey, how are you? I'm so busy. No. Hey, how are you? I'm really enjoying my day. Right?
Language.
Yes, language. So there's that. Now, oftentimes the things you feel unproductive with are literally something that you want to do it and maybe you need to do it, but your body isn't biochemically supportive of that particular activity. And right now you might feel in the mess of it. You're like, I don't even know where to begin, because I like to not feel the way I'm feeling now. I should have started 4 weeks ago to not feeling where I'm feeling now. So I'm just gonna keep doing it. You got to start making little changes. So let's just talk about housework. Can we talk about housework for a minute?
Please.
Do you and your listeners, viewers, deal with housework? Because I do. Okay.
I mean, I deal when I can deal.
I know, right? And I'm not.
It doesn't look like I'm dealing much these days.
You can't see some of the messes around me in this camera view. So whatever. I don't care. I don't ever apologize for it anymore.
Mhm.
That's another thing. Don't apologize if your house is messy. Your house does not define your value either.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. When your energy is highest, do your deep cleaning. So those 3 to 5 days around when you're ovulating, your energy is going to be up there. You're going to want to crank up the music. You're going to want to sing and dance as you're scrubbing the toilet.
Yeah.
Do your deep cleaning when around ovulation. And that is usually between like days 12 and 15 of your cycle, if you are on kind of a typical 28 to 32 day cycle.
Mm.
If you don't know when you ovulate, Google it and start noticing what your body's telling you about when you're ovulating. Okay. Do your deep clean then. Scrub the toilets, vacuum the floors, dust, clean out a closet. Like just do all your heavy lifting cleaning then. Okay, so think of that as like one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is when you're on your period. Okay, when you're on your period, don't do shit.
Mm.
Okay, plan a crock pot freezer meal for those 2 days. Plan if your family like orders in or does takeout or whatever, plan for it on days 2 or 3 of your period. Nobody wants to cook when they're on their period and they're like, ugh, right? Nobody does. So why do we force ourselves to do it? Okay.
Mhm.
So that's your rest days. You don't need to be doing laundry. You don't need to be doing a ton of dishes. You don't need to be scrubbing your toilets because you already did it 2 weeks ago. Okay, maybe you need to just do every day like a light tidy. I mean, we have to do those sort of things, right? Like
Yeah.
we need to like collect the dishes and put them in the dishwasher. But I'm talking about the deep clean when you're ovulating, so that when you are on your period, you can rest and you're not worried about everything being all dirty. Okay, are you with me so far?
Oh, yeah. For
Okay,
sure.
so after your period and before you hit ovulation, this is a good time to make plans, to establish a to-do list, to think about what you want to do over the next 3 to 4 weeks. So if you in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, I've really been wanting to clean out that closet, or I need to take those things to Goodwill or whatnot, just write them on your calendar and book time to do them. But write it on your calendar, book time to do it after you ovulate. Okay? So the follicular phase between period and ovulation is, for me, a time like I don't really care about the laundry sitting for a few days. I really don't care about those piles of papers because I know I'll get to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, this
It's
time of
already
the month
scheduled. Yeah.
for house chores, it's literally just maintenance and kind of just go with the flow. You're like, oh, I feel like washing the windows today. I think I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
Okay. I feel like blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, after ovulation, so luteal phase, your body loves to take care of to-do lists. Okay, you get those dopamine hits every time
Yeah.
you check something off your to-do list. So that to-do list you made earlier in the month, now start actually doing it. Today, I'm going to clean out the shelf in the closet. Oh yeah, I need to clean out the silverware drawer because there's like all the crumbs under the spoons. How does that happen? I
Yeah.
don't even understand.
There's like, why is
Okay.
anything in there? I agree.
Yeah, right. You're like, I've been meaning, like, I need to sort through that bin of the kids' toys. I'm going to do that today. Just
Mhm.
little things. And the closer you get to your period, the more you're going to want to nest and take care of all those little to-do lists. File those papers. It's a great time to like update your budget spreadsheets. It's a really great time to, um, match all the missing socks.
Mhm.
Okay.
So many.
If you are a meal planner, you like to plan meals, or you're like, I'd like to get into meal planning, never, ever, ever do it on your period or while you're PMSing. Never. You're not going to want to do it while you're ovulating. You're too busy like doing all the things.
Yeah.
After your period is a good time to meal plan because your brain biochemically is great at making plans at that time. So wouldn't it make housework easier if instead of seeing a project of housework and feeling frustrated, you're like, oh, wait, I do that then. So when the shower gets a little grimy and I'm like, ugh, now I have to clean this today. I'm like, no, I'm going to ovulate in 3 days. And that's when I'm doing it. It can wait
Mhm.
until then.
So you're speaking my language like so loud and clear right now because I'm so in this mode of, yeah, trying to incorporate a new system of
Mhm.
productivity and scheduling into my life. The reason for that is because, it comes in, once again, it always does come back to self awareness. What I realized now, granted, this is 2 or more years ago at this
Mhm.
point, what I realized is all my crazy page and a half, 2-page long to-do lists were not helping me be productive. They were
Mm-mm.
giving me anxiety.
Mhm.
And the planners were giving me anxiety too, because I was just looking at things that I scheduled and that didn't actually happen the way that I wanted it
Yep.
to. So I started to flow. I really started to flow. And I did a lot of work with a couple different coaches about like sort of releasing the anxiety
Mhm.
around, needing, again, it's like needing to deliver and needing to execute perfectly, right? So like that flow was able through, my own self-awareness practice and working with people, I was able to get into more of like more of a forgiving flow of just like, I'm just going to do, and whatever is super important. It's not like I don't write anything down
Right.
ever.
Right.
Of course I do, but like not putting this like immense, like, and the time that I would spend to make
Mhm.
these to-do lists and to fill out these planners, that
Yeah.
time that could have been spent, it was like a whole thing. So I started to flow, but now again, we're talking years have passed
Mhm.
potentially. I don't even know at this point. And I'm moving. You go through different seasons and I'm in a totally new phase of life. I need like a new system. So
Yeah.
I like to draw awareness to that too. The fact that like what used to work for you, a lot of us get into that mode of like, well, like I used to do this all the time and now it doesn't work anymore. And it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's because you're a totally freaking different person than you
Yep.
were when it worked for you.
In your
You know?
20s and 30s, your estrogen levels are the highest.
Yeah.
They give you energy, they increase your mood, they increase your it increases your productivity, it makes you like more attractive, literally. Okay,
Literally. Yeah.
pheromones, skin tech, all the things.
Yeah.
And when you get to your 30s and into your 40s and into your 50s, like that hormone is not as supportive as it used to be.
Yeah.
You literally can't do things
Yeah.
the way you used to because your body is not the same.
Yeah.
But we still have superpower in it. We still have power in our hormones. Um, for for any for anyone listening who's like, well, I don't have a period, or I'm on birth control, or I went through menopause already. Can I do this?
Mhm.
Yes, you can.
Mm.
First of all, birth control is tiny little zaps. I'm going to call them zaps, tiny little zaps of synthetic hormone that enter your body. And it can be through the pill, it can be through a patch, it can be a shot, it can be through like something that's inserted internally. They're synthetic hormones and they suppress your natural estrogen progesterone hormone thing. There are pros and cons to birth control. I am not here to tell you what's right or wrong for you in your body. That's a discussion between you and your medical care provider and so how could you still align with your female hormone cycle? I want to tell you that just because your hormones are being suppressed by birth control doesn't mean that they've disappeared.
Mhm.
Okay, in fact, aligning with your cycle may help support and more optimized natural hormones, which might be the reason you even went on birth control in the first place, is because your hormones were not optimized.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you need to do if you are wanting to sync up is your menstrual phase is the new moon. You sync up with the moon. Okay,
Wow.
the menstrual is the dark moon. Okay. Then your next phase, follicular, is the first quarter moon. And your ovulatory phase, which is summer, is the full moon. Okay. Then the third quarter moon is your luteal phase, which then transitions you back to the new moon, which is your menstrual phase. There's a website called timeanddate.com. You can look up the moon phases for your local area, literally put it on your calendar. I'm going to show you this. Okay. I just printed out a 2020 calendar.
Mhm.
Oops, I'm backwards here. And see how I color coded?
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I literally just like colored in when I will be in different phases.
Yeah.
So when it's yellow, let's see. Well, right now, let's see, it's February 15th. I'm at the very end of my fall. So I know that coming up starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to need some rest, which means today and yesterday and tomorrow, I'm going to take care of the piles of stuff around my house. I'm going to make sure the laundry's done. I'm going to prep a freezer meal so that in 2 days I can rest, right?
So
So
important.
you can use an app. You can literally do it like this. If you are doing the moon cycle, like literally just create yourself a color-coded chart so that when somebody says, hey, could you do this? Or you're like, I've got these 5 things. You've made that to-do list.
Yeah.
Our culture tells us to hurry and to go and to produce.
And to
If
say yes,
we
you
if
know?
we literally just slowed the F down and realized we do not have to do things so fast, you will find life to become more enjoyable, and you will, instead of spreading your roots wide, right? Trees that spread their roots wide on the top of the earth, they get knocked down in windstorms. Instead of spending all your time up here on the surface doing like 85,000 things, what if you sent your roots deep? What if you slowed down and took the time to grow through that hard earth, to get below the permafrost level, to get down to the water that's nourishing? What if you did that? How would your tree be? Okay, like that's what we're talking about here. Our strength and our energy and our the love life force does not come from spreading ourselves so thin. What it comes from connecting with earth, connecting with water, connecting with whatever spiritual force you believe in. It comes from tuning in. It comes from following the rhythm of nature and our own cycles. If I were to leave your listeners with anything today, and I think it just literally goes back to this self-awareness. And once you start to realize something's off, the next step is, what do I need to know? And I hope today we've provided you with some things you need to know about your female hormone cycle so that you can start to take action.
Yeah.
So here's a couple of things that I recommend that you could do to start taking action. One, if you do not track your hormone cycle yet, you need to start there. If you don't know what phase you're in, you are not going to know what to eat, how to work out, what productivity, all the things. Okay, track your cycle. Tons of apps out there, or you could literally use a paper and pen. You don't even have to print it.
Yeah,
Okay?
I've been using my period tracker for years at this
Yep.
point.
And
it's
normally people do that.
like predict everything now. Like I know everything.
Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of like people usually will go that deep if they're trying to prevent pregnancy or if they're trying to get pregnant. If they're not, like if they're using like a fertility awareness method, they'll learn all the things. And I love that because then I don't have to teach them all that.
Right.
Okay.
You're
But
already
if
there.
you're like, I want to know how to track my cycle, literally look up fertility awareness method and you're going to learn so much about the 4 phases of your body. Okay, so start tracking your cycle. The second thing I always recommend, and obviously before you make any dietary changes, blah, 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 you need to talk with your doctor to make sure that's not going to interfere with any medications or anything you're taking or doing, is to start seed cycling. Very briefly, because I know we're at a long time here. Very briefly, seed cycling is a holistic health practice that where you take 4 different types of seeds and you're going to use 2 of them during the menstrual and follicular phase, and you're going to use the other 2 during your ovulatory and luteal phase. And you literally just rotate the seeds. It's a seed cycle. It's a seed rotation. And the specific seeds that you use have nutrients in them that support the production and the regulation of levels of estrogen and progesterone. They have fiber, they have minerals and vitamins. They're really good for female reproductive hormones. Going back to kind of the beginning, I was doing my intro. I was under this cloud, blah, blah, blah. I changed my nutrition. I changed all the things and I got my energy back. And I like my mom cloud left. And I was not living for nap time anymore, right? But I still was having trouble with my period. I was having super achy boobs, like to the point where I'm like a size A. They're not that big of a deal. I don't care. Like I don't care what size they are, but they hurt. And I'd have to just hold them, you know, like you walk down the stairs and you're like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, you can't run. Okay, achy boobs. Another thing I was experiencing is the first couple days of my period, like the muscles from like the top of my hips all the way down the back of my butt into my thighs would just ache.
Mm.
Just, I call it the butt muscle aches.
Yeah.
Okay. It's right. And then I would just get achy cramps, not painful ones, but just really uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Also experiencing acne, hormonal acne and stuff. I started seed cycling, and this is my experience. Your experience may be different. The first month I had no achy boobs. I'm like, what? The next month, and I also had really bad ovulation cramps. I could always tell which ovary was like active because it'd feel
Same.
like a knife.
I know the moment it's
That's how I
happening.
got pregnant with my second. Is I'm like, yep, just ovulated. I felt it pop out. I'm like, honey,
The moment, I
yeah,
know.
yep.
Yeah.
You can. One time, I was ovulating. I knew I was like in that time, and I I sneezed, and my abs contracted. And I felt like a knife on my right hand side. I'm like, I just sneezed an egg out.
And then, like, the look on people's faces, like, the look on, like, my
Yeah.
husband's face when I'm like, "Oh,"
Yep.
and he's like, "How do you," I'm like, "You don't, like, you'll never get it."
You'll never get it.
Just like, I know it's, I mean, it is, also, connected to, like, I never was like that.
Yeah.
Like, I always just like to bring it back to, it doesn't, if this doesn't happen for you and you don't feel like it's connected to your body in this
Yeah.
way, there is a reason, and it took a lot of focus and a lot of time
Mhm.
of getting into my body, and it just so happens to be that yoga and meditation for me
Yeah.
as a practice gave me the opportunity to do that, so that it's like building a muscle. It's like all this mindfulness we talk about, right? Like, we talk about this all the time because it's important to be able to pause and actually notice what's going on inside your
Mhm.
body, instead of just like burrowing through with that
Yeah.
masculine energy and being like, I can't,
Yeah.
like, I can't even pause to like really ask myself.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about in the beginning, like ask her what
Ask.
she needs,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Um, there is, there's something to be said about taking that pause, and also, um, for me at least, I mean, I first of all, I experience almost all of the same things that you were talking about, which is just another reason I'm
Mhm.
so excited about this. Um, but yeah, that just also becoming, going back to like, okay, how do I stay regimented about, like, even me coming off of this detox and then
Mhm.
wanting to still maintain, I don't want to go back to all my old ways. I want to maintain, this diet and these diet and lifestyle shifts to the best of my
Right.
ability. But I do, of course, have like a little bit of anxiety about that, because it was just 4 days. So, like,
Right.
okay, like, how do I just shift here? But it is a lot about, like, allowing yourself some grace to,
Mhm.
like, yeah, like, there are going to be days, without beating yourself up, there are going to be days where you're
Mhm.
going to stray from that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then understanding, like, why you're doing this, like, have it, like, I think I talk about that all the time, like, having a why to it.
Yeah.
And it's so deep because it doesn't just stop. I don't feel like, talking about this, I don't feel like it just stops at, like, okay, I really just want to be more productive, although it's a byproduct. Or even what I
You
was
have to
thinking
keep
about.
asking yourself why. Why do I
Yeah,
want to be more productive? Yeah.
yeah,
And then
and
that reason, ask why again.
yes, oh, I love that rule, like, keep going deeper.
Keep going.
um Because that's your self-awareness, like,
Mhm.
that's your real true self-awareness,
Mhm.
that you'll be able to call on that, um, call on that incentive and that need every time you're faced with, okay, well, for example, like, day after the cleanse, like, I'm
Yep.
sitting there, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law came over, my kids were at my sister's, we had a couple beers, we ordered
Mhm.
sushi, and I just, like, gorged on sushi. Like, I was like, "Yes, I want this, I want this," whatever.
Mhm.
And, no shame, no shame.
No.
Woke up the next morning, had my fruit salad for breakfast, and I was just like, "Okay." Like, you just come back to it, because I know that a lot of women face that, of, like,
Mhm.
how, just beating yourself up for not being able to stay. So just restart. And
Yeah.
I think that this is like, obviously, I think it's taking this entire seed cycling explanation, to me, is like
Mhm.
taking that to the next level
Yeah.
of, like, you already have that shit scheduled. You don't have
Yeah.
to be so hard on yourself, because you have a plan.
Yeah.
And your plan is aligned with like what you actually need, not the way that the world is dictating to you how you should be.
The structure is coming from your natural, how you were created.
Yeah.
It's coming from your natural instincts, not trying to force an external structure onto you and you're trying to adapt and you're encountering resistance after resistance after resistance. Well, the resistance is there for a reason. Okay. When you're in the flow, when you're in alignment, resistance, I don't want to say it doesn't exist, because we always will, we're human, but the resistance level will be so much less and the ease will be so much more. So back to seed cycling. We could talk for 5 hours here.
I know.
With seed cycling, you can Google it. That's literally how I learned all about it. It took a lot of time for me to research it out and define what seeds and how do you eat them and all that. I do have a 1 hour, like, call it a webinar. It's on my website. I don't know if you're going to tag my website or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to put all the information underneath. Yeah.
Sure. Like, there's a tab on my website. It's called Seed Cycling. It's $27 and you can learn the who, not the who. The who is you. The what, the where, the when, the why, the how, all the things you need to know about seed cycling. And I also give you a recipe pack that's flexible structure, not like super neat, right? It's like you can plug and play of like the 5 days leading up to your period, so that you can have, it's called a bicycle built for you. A bicycle built for you, right? Hormonal cycles, about how you can feed your PMSing self. So foods that are super nourishing during that time, and that alone is worth $27 for it. So I have that available on my website. And by the way, every purchase of that, I donate to 10% of that to a local charity called the Spokes Group, which helps local children get bicycles. So
there you go.
Yeah, so you're giving back when you buy that course. Like I said, you can go to Google, you can take my course, all totally up to you. But seed cycling is the one thing I recommend for literally as soon as you see the young females in your life starting to approach puberty, start them on seed cycling, and you want to continue it to the day that you are done here on this earth. Okay, just for the nutrition benefits alone. And if you want to know how would I seed cycle somebody who's not having a period yet, it's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay. Especially for people maybe have just started their periods and they're really all over the place. Just 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay. And I can chat more about you too, especially if you buy my course. I'll make myself more accessible to questions.
Yes, of course. There's so much information. Yeah. Tell us your site just to make sure it's for the people who are like, wait, I want to.
It's super simple. It's Anna Herendeen, my first and last name, which you can see on the screen, and then .podia, PODIA.com. So AnnaHerendeen.podia.com. So the third thing, so track your cycle, start seed cycling. Third thing is you need to come into my free Facebook community called the Wonder Woman Club. This is perfect timing because just today we're starting a series on literally foods for your cycle with your cycle. And this week we're talking about how you cycle sync fruits with the different phases. You have to start small. You will not be able to overhaul everything all at once. Slow the F down. You do not have to do it all at once. Your body will be grateful for tiny incremental changes over time, which add up to monumental growth, rather than trying to take monumental growth and stress yourself out trying to doing it and ending up failing. Okay. So we're starting with fruits.
Yeah.
It's a free community. Like, if you liked what we talked about here, you're going to love being over there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you just start cycle syncing. And if this really interested you, you need to read this book.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm not affiliated.
I found her the other day on Instagram because I finally searched the Flow Living.
She's the founder of the Flow Living. Yep.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. This is it. Like, reading this book is like going to like a freshman level college course.
Seriously. Okay. Oh my God.
But it's written in like normal human terms. But I'll just up to the camera here. Her name is Elisa Vitti.
Yeah.
And she does Woman Code. And what I love about this is she talks about being a power source. Right? Masculine, feminine energy is like a whole last chapter. It's phenomenal. Anyway, I'd recommend that if you're really wanting to dig into this more. But like we said at the beginning, the whole reason for looking at your hormone cycle as one of your superpowers and learning to live with her and not against her is so that you can just stop being a stressed, freaked out mess all the time. Stop burning yourself out.
Yeah. I have been asking myself this question so many times, like why? Because that's coming up for me a lot is like bandwidth. Like, you know what I mean? I've got
Mhm.
my kids are 5 and 2. Like, it's just like, all right, like I want to do, and I do have a good amount of energy and I have
Yeah.
so many ideas and I want to do all the things. And I'm like, I want them now, you know? Because I'm in that mode, like, and I come from corporate too. So
Yeah.
that doesn't help that I've got this corporate mentality
Yeah.
that's always telling me to like execute now
Mhm.
and perfectly
Yep.
tomorrow. Um, but anyway, so I'm always combating that, but it's like, okay, like I know that I have so much to give. It's just like, how
Mhm.
do I constructively do this
Yeah.
so that it works for me and my lifestyle, and it's not like, yeah, and I don't end up in that burnout phase, and
Yeah.
this really, it just resonates with me so much. I'm so appreciative of you coming on and educating us, like, because
Mhm.
you just, like, schooled us here, and I'm really, really grateful. Like, it's massive.
You're
It's
welcome.
potentially life-changing, and I'm going to be all up in that woman
The
group.
Wonder Woman Club.
The Wonder Woman. I'm
Yeah.
loving that. We love a good pun.
Yep.
So again, thank you so much.
You are
I'm
welcome.
gonna post like I'm gonna be editing the caption for all
Mhm.
the videos and on all the platforms to include all the information about Anna and where to find her.
I will message
Thank
that to you so you don't have to hunt around for it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
always doing the hunt, so I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. This has been amazing. Thanks everybody who's been listening and commenting. And if you need us, if you have questions, this video will be up for replay on YouTube if you want to come back to it and shoot us a message. Let us know if it resonates with you. And we'll be back, I'm sure, with
Sure.
something we could go on and on probably. So
We could. We could. Well,
perfect. Thank you.
thank you, and y'all enjoy the rest of your day and start tracking your cycles.
Yes. Step number one,
Step
let's
one.
track it. I
Yep.
agree.
All
Perfect.
right.